Today we're digging into Herdling, the beautiful new adventure game that has critics completely divided. This is a fascinating one, so let's get right into it.
Now, you've got to remember, Herdling comes from Okomotive. That's the Swiss studio that gave us the amazing Far Lone Sails and Changing Tides. So right away, expectations were high. You can see their signature style here, that wordless storytelling, that focus on a long atmospheric journey. But this is a huge leap for them, moving from a 2D vehicle to guiding a living, breathing herd in a full 3D world.
The game kicks off with you as a nameless child waking up under a city bridge. And from that simple moment, a quest begins, all without a single line of dialogue.
So, at the very center of this journey are the Calicorns. And what are they? Well, reviewers had fun with this one, calling them everything from an adorable mix of sheep, elk, and Muppets to lovable, smooth-brained lumps of horn and fur. Your job is to find these creatures in this desolate city and lead them on a huge migration back to their true home in the mountains.
And this is where the game just absolutely shines. Pretty much across the board, every critic agreed that the emotional connection you build with these creatures is the undeniable high point of the whole experience.
This quote from GameSpot just nails it. It perfectly captures what everyone was feeling. The real power of this game doesn't come from some big, complicated story. It comes from these small, quiet moments of connection between you and your herd. What's really clever is how the game builds this bond. It's all through these simple, direct actions. Critics really loved that you could name each Calicorn, which instantly makes them feel like individuals, not just some faceless mob. That little touch makes the job of protecting them feel so much more personal. When one gets hurt, you feel this genuine sense of urgency to find healing berries. And like Shacknews pointed out, if you actually lose one, that stings. It's a real loss, and it completely changes how you approach the game from that point on. So let's talk about the gameplay itself. While that emotional core got rave reviews, the actual mechanics of herding, well, this is where the critics split right down the middle. The core mechanic is pretty unique. You guide the Calicorns by standing behind them, kind of like a real shepherd. You move counter to where you want them to go. So you step to their left, and the whole group swings to the right. It's a very indirect way of controlling them. And this chart just shows you how wild the split was. On one side, you have outlets like GameSpot calling it a unique gameplay loop that was deceptively simple yet involving. Silicon Era even said it works perfectly. But then, you look at the other side. So many games called it disappointingly toothless, even frictionless to the point of feeling nothing. And Nintendo Wife found the controls straight up janky. So you have this clear divide. Was the core mechanic the game's biggest strength or its biggest weakness? But okay, let's move to an area where the critics found common ground again. The game's absolutely stunning art and sound design. I mean, you just don't see praise this high very often, and GameSpot wasn't the only one. Review after review talked about Joel Shoka's score, calling it incredible, dynamic, and powerful. It perfectly matches the journey, turning a simple run across a field into this epic, soaring stampede.
The visuals were also a massive win. Critics just kept using words like stunning and dreamlike. But, and this is a pretty big but, this artistic success came with a major catch: technical problems. Several outlets saw noticeable frame rate drops on both PC and PS5. And the Nintendo Switch version in particular got called out by multiple reviewers for muddy textures, constant performance dips, and even camera bugs that really broke the immersion.
So, with all these competing ideas, what's the final word? Let's boil all this feedback down into one clear verdict. When you lay it all out like this, the contrast is stark. In the praise column, you've got everything that connects on an emotional level. The bond with the herd, the beautiful atmosphere, the amazing art and music. But in the criticisms column, it's all about the mechanics. Gameplay that felt shallow to many, puzzles that were way too easy, major technical problems, and a pace that could feel a bit flat.
And the scores reflect this perfectly. You've got those superb top-tier scores from critics who were completely swept away by the game's heart and artistry. Then you've got a lot of good scores from people who saw the vision but were held back by the flaws. And finally, you have those firmly mixed reviews from people who just found the shallow gameplay and technical issues too much to ignore.
So here's the bottom line. Herdling is a game that succeeds beautifully on an emotional and artistic level. It creates a journey that you're going to remember. But for a lot of critics, the actual game part of the video game felt a bit thin, leaving them impressed, but not totally satisfied.
And that leaves us with the big question that this whole critical conversation really boils down to. Can a powerful emotional experience and breathtaking art carry a game all on its own, even if the core mechanics feel a little slight? Based on the reviews for Herdling, there's no single answer. It all comes down to what you, as a player, are really looking for.